You must make more money ASAP. The sense of urgency to do this and get free has never been higher. I am recording this in October 2023. The year of 2023 has been one that many of you have been challenged by. In the next coming years, things are going to get likely even harder. They're going to get harder for you, but they don't have to get harder. They can minimize a lot of the pain and turmoil that is about to come for a lot of people. I'm going to go through 22 money principles and money mistakes that people make. I'm going to preface it by continuing to say and give you the sense of urgency that there are new wars going on. The US is about to send a $100+ billion aid package to the conflict in Israel with Hamas and bordering countries that now other countries are getting dragged into. This is significant. This influences you. Okay, because they're going to send more aid to these countries going through wars, including still Ukraine and Russia that everybody seems to have forgotten about. Why is this important to you? Because the more wars, the more conflict, it accelerates the recession, it accelerates interest rates rising, it accelerates inflation, it accelerates internal conflict. And then when there's internal conflict, there's distraction. And I'm going to tell you about the Roman Empire in a second and how that's very relevant to our time today. Because with external conflict and internal conflict, then order must be had at some point. And governments will try to instill that order, and by doing so, will try and distract you from the economical and environmental chaos that surrounds. And I'm going to give an example of that in a second. But you need to understand this is a very important time in your life. This is arguably, for most of you listening, including me, one of the hardest economical, financial, world, global conflict times that we've ever lived through. Now is not the time to get a loan and buy a car. Now is not the time to get a loan and buy a house. Now is not the time to be extravagant with your purchases. Now is the time to be carefully intentional and conscious with where you invest your money. And by asking you the question, is where you're putting your money, is it helping you make more money or enriching your health and life in a way that can help you become more free, more healthy, more wealthy? For example, me doing this for you guys, all of you, have the ability to message me and access me to ask questions for us to talk about in our coaching calls about how you can make more money, strategize, problem solve. If I've done it in businesses multiple times to a multi-six-figure level, I can help you in your own way, even just increase your income by 10, 20% and get you out of poverty. I've done this dozens and dozens of times with other of my students and mentees, and I'm going to be helping now all of you because coaching must expand to be giving you guys more, because this cannot just be about health, psychology, and transforming your life in that way. It now must transcend that. It must transcend that to helping you be more free and helping you live the life that you've always dreamed of. And so that is what I'm here for now, expanding that and giving you guys more. So no more free streaming services a week. No more Uber Eats every week. You must improve your profit margin to at least 30, ideally minimum 30% profit margins. If you make $1,000 a week, you want to be profiting at least $300 a week. Profit margin is very important. Cash flow is important. So at least 30%. You must learn how to free yourself from the shackles of your mental and financial poverty. And I'm going to be continuing to showing you this through this money, wealth series. I'm going to be showing you what I'm doing, and I want to be assembling a team of people, some of you of which will be watching this, where we can come up together. Soon, we'll talk soon about that. I'm going to be teaching you many of the things that I've done, many of the things that I'm doing with my students and mentees, and many of the things that I'm going to be actively doing and going to be doing in the future to help create this life and to help show you how I've created this life that I've always dreamed of, and then how do I maintain it and build and grow upon that. Not for indulgences, not for materialism, but for impact, contribution, altruism, giving back, and also creating comfort and quality of life for myself and my family. I'm going to talk about the Roman Empire to start with. And because I need you guys to be aware of how they're going to try and distract you. When I say there, what do I mean? I mean people in power, governments, people with large amounts of influence, the media, the MSM, the mainstream media. And you can understand this by looking back through history instead of labeling and feeling the tone of what I'm saying as, what is he, a conspiracy theorist? Listen, if you understand history, you can understand the patterns of how it can repeat throughout the future, and it can rhyme in different ways. So, there's something called bread and circuses. Bread and circuses was a term coined by a Roman poet at about 100 AD, if I recall correctly. Now, Rome fell. All civilizations, all predominant powers, if you read Ray Dalio's Changing World Order, you'll understand that the changing world order occurs every couple hundred years, which means predominant countries begin to shift. Like US has been at the pinnacle for quite a while now, 100, 150 years. Before that, early before that in the 1600s, there was the Dutch. Just after that, there was the British. And then before that, there was others. And now the changing world order is a rhythmic cycle, up and down. The Roman Empire was once on top. And we can look back through previous empires to understand what are the leading indicators that contributed, that we can see, to the fall or internal chaos. Now, Roman rulers deliberately kept the populace in a complacent and inert state, so a state of distraction. But during economical turmoil, during political turmoil, during unrest, how did they do this? They handed out a lot of free food, lavish, violent shows, and circuses on a frequent basis. Frequently, every week, they would do this. This bread and circuses act was done to distract. It was done to minimize the populace's internal conflict and chaos, subdue them in a way from really noticing what's going on. And we can look back through hindsight to see this, observe this from a first principles perspective, and also observe the written accounts of people during that time. And so if people back then have done it, we understand people are simply people. Human psychology has stayed the same. So we need to understand that, well, do you think people in power could do the same today? So I say this to say, be keenly aware of your environment and how people, governments, organizations, even me, has their own agenda to influence. Because if you understand people's biases and agendas, then you're much less likely to get taken advantage of. If you want to learn more, read the 48 Laws of Power, watch all of my book summaries that I've done on my personal YouTube, Alexander Emmanuel Sandalis, and you can see more there. So right now, be aware and cognizant that today's people in power may exhibit a similar pattern of behavior. They may already be doing it in ways you may not realize, and they may be doing it in ways in the future that will become evident and that will give more confidence to what I'm saying now. So I would just say right now, be very aware. Be very aware that during times of a lot of conflict and economical turmoil, that they start to put things in place that are seemingly nonsensical or seemingly just for pure entertainment. More free shows, more of a priority on like outdoor events and free television, movie, circus type of just anything that could be really entertaining that they maybe used to be paid or infrequent is now becoming more consistent, frequent, and even free. And how that could be a tool that makes sense that they would use, because why would we want internal conflict? Of course we don't want that. And so it's a tool that makes sense, but it also subdues people and distracts people from thinking and critically thinking about what really is going on in the world and what they can do about it. Because social media is a big tool for that. Social media is a massive distraction for drowning out your own fears and anxieties about the world. And a lot of people get gravitated towards it. Why do you use it so much? To avoid feeling something or gain feeling something that you're missing and craving inside of you. Okay, so observe and notice that when you're pulled to social media during times of stress, because you haven't gotten to the root cause of the stress itself. And a lot of your stress is about money, about fear of the future, of about anxiety about the present and the future, and a depression about the past. And so notice how your pull towards these things is a lot of the times avoidance for dealing with that actual thing, particularly when the world gets more and more difficult to deal with, more stress, more conflict. People can begin to disassociate. And so these distractions can be a tool for disassociation to the stress of the present. So make sure you go watch my stress management workshop in the Discord if you haven't already. It's free for you guys. It's all included in your coaching, and that you'll begin to help with some stress management techniques. But for now, that little preface, in the next video, we're going to go through 22 money principles and money mistakes that are absolutely vital to know. Let's go.